I think the issue is the performance of the government, and I think it has struggled a bit against the background of the pandemic.
But who do you blame for that if you don't blame Boris Johnson? Because we have seen a torrent of concerns, especially in recent weeks.
Well, I mainly blame the pandemic, which has obviously made it very difficult to pursue the optimistic, recovery-based, levelling up agenda which we were elected on and which the Prime Minister is very dedicated to achieving. But if I had to single out a particular department that I think has made life difficult for people, it would be the Treasury. I think the tax rises were a very bad idea. The economy has now slowed almost to a halt in the last set of figures after quite a vigorous recovery at the beginning. And the Treasury, it started well by giving a lot of support at the time of the original lockdowns. Understandably withdrew a lot of that support, but went on to impose these tax rises. And I think that was a mistake.
So what do you think precisely the government should do in response to this huge defeat? I mean, this is one of the safest Tory seats. What do you specifically want the government to do now in response?
Well, what I want it to do is to get behind the levelling up and the economic recovery agenda, limit the damage of anti-pandemic measures on the economy, and where the measures are damaging, you have to provide some offsetting support. Above all, I would cancel the national insurance tax rise. I would take VAT off domestic fuel because fuel prices are far too high. And I would ask the Energy Department to make sure we produce more of our own gas and more of our own electricity. We're too import dependent, and their policy until recently has been to make us ever more import dependent, which means higher prices and greater scarcity. I think you've got to tackle the things that are really hitting everybody's budgets around the country. And the main things that have hit or are about to hit are energy prices and taxes.
So what would you say to fellow Conservatives who are critical of the Prime Minister's performance? I mean, you have total 100% faith in him, do you, to lead the Tories into the next election?
Well, I would say that he was a very important part of the attraction of the Conservative Party and its message in the general election not that long ago. And that what we need to do is to help him and support him see through the right agenda for Britain now, which must be optimism, levelling up, economic growth, promotion of more and better paid jobs at home. We need to do things like grow more of our own food instead of have policies that try and take us out of farming, for example. So I think there are changes he needs to lead and make, and I'd urge him to do so.